Welkom terug by die groot ontbyt. Ons gesels môre weer met Tracy McQuarrie van DogtownSA en kyk, die vakansie is op ons. Nee, daar's allerlei dingetjies waar ons moet gesels as dit kom by jou honde. Honde op vakansie kry soms swaarder as wat die eienaars dink of graag sal wil aanvaar. Good morning, Tracy.
Morning.
It's lovely having you here this morning, and it's lovely to talk about holiday time, and not only about how we experience it, but the depression that our dogs might feel and the anxiety that they might feel over the holiday period that we don't necessarily know of.
Yeah, we forget that, dogs are used to consistency. They work really well. If everything happens, if they know that at this time this happens, at this time this happens, it really makes them happy. And during the holiday seasons, all their normal what happens at 9, what happens goes out the window.
The routine disappears.
Completely. And now families there's a lot more people in their space. If they're not used to that, they find that very, makes them very anxious because, they're used to maybe mom, dad, and a couple of kids. Now there's 6 kids running around screaming, making a noise. Or there's lots of people coming to visit. Decorations around the house are completely different. Everything is different at this time of year, and that consistency is gone, and that automatically makes them feel a little bit unsettled.
We can all feel that our pets get anxious. That's an emotion we can perceive that they are experiencing. But I mean, do dogs get depressed as well?
They do, because if you ever speak to somebody who's had 2 dogs and the one dog passes away, and you see the other dog then just really kind of goes flat and doesn't want to do anything, they'll become much more lethargic. They're not really active. They don't really, they do a lot of drinking. They do a lot of stuff that makes them feel good. So a lot of licking, a lot of chewing, ways that are trying making them feel better, because they do generally, feel a lot of for years they said dogs don't experience emotions like that as, but they do, and they've proven it scientifically now that they do experience these emotions.
It's interesting that you mentioned that there are 2 behaviors I pick up. Normally when there's a lot of people in my house, the dogs act completely differently. I can see how anxious they get and they don't know where to go, and they just act differently. And also when I've been away from home for a long time and I come back, I know I can see in their behavior that they have definitely fallen into a bit of a depression, whether it's uncertainty, is she going to come back? When is she going to come back where she is? But you mentioned some of those factors that we can look out for, in your dog. But what can we do to help them if we see that they're slightly more anxious or that they're depressed?
I think with everything, it's better if we can work with our dogs in a more gradual situation. So we might have a dog that normally it's just, me and my husband, they're used to that. Yes. They're used to the setting, they're used to how we operate, they know at this time we do this and that. If we're going to have guests around, it's always better to do that gradually. So maybe invite 2 people round and let the dogs get to experience that in a better way. And then maybe 4 people, but to go from 2 people to 10 people in one go is just really overwhelming for the dogs. And what we do at home is we always create a safe place that if this has become too much for them, they can go to this room or their crate and they can go get away from the area that's making them anxious and settle down and not have to deal with that experience.
You said they lick more, they chew more. Is there a way that you can sort of keep them busy in that stressful situations?
Absolutely. That's why I've brought a couple of our stuff in. Again, the licky mat, especially now when it's hot, I would put, so what we do, put a little bit of liver spread, a little bit of peanut butter, making sure the peanut butter doesn't have xylitol because that's poisonous to dogs. And what we do is we fill them up and we freeze them now while it's so hot. So it makes all that stuff a bit harder, so the licking becomes a bit harder. And then that licking will calm them down. It makes them feel good. It tastes good. It's like us eating an ice lolly, it makes us feel good. And if we've got it frozen and it takes longer, this is a really good activity for them to be doing. Also, we've got this little guy, which is like a chew toy, but we do the same. It's got the little ridges. We put the peanut butter or the liver spread on it, freeze it. So when they're chewing, they're also getting some nice taste, and this bit they will lick then, and then they will carry on doing the chewing. And then, of course, we've got amazing brain toys. These are great. You put the little treats here, they have to lift this up for this to move. It really makes their brains work to find the treats. And it really has a huge impact on them getting that mental release and getting that mental stimulation that they so desperately want to just get some kind of stimulation. So if you can't get out and walk because the heat is insane.
That's the thing. And your routine, your schedule is gone with people there and holiday times, then you need to still keep your dogs active, mentally stimulated.
And of course, if you can't have all these, I brought it in again. The little plastic bottle can be a lifesaver. Cut the holes in. It will work like this. This is a great toy. I love this. Sorry for the noise. But it rolls about and makes a noise. But also, there's a little hole here where the treats come out. So you fill it with treats. So as they roll it, the treats come out.
The bits come out.
And that's really good because it has the noise and it has the rolling activity. So they're chasing. So it's kind of like they're doing a bit of foraging and hunting as well. But like I said, the bottles are a great tool to use as well. You can either cut the holes in and put the treats in, and as they roll it, it comes out. Just remember to cut this bit away, cut it in half so it can't hurt birds in the trash. And then either put the lid back on, or you can leave it off because it makes it easier for the dogs. And again, if you have like kind of slush ice in here and they're chewing on it, it's nice and cool.
One thing that since we've spoken to you, do now all the time is the treat in the garden. And I scatter the treat in the garden. All four go like hunting, and it's like a whole, for like the next hour I sit there in the garden drinking my coffee and watch them look for the treats that are, because I break the treats up, so they like really have to
Just for you by entertainment.
I love it. And I love watching them, and some give up easier and then they see the others keep going and then they'll go again, and it really is brilliant to see. Tracy, the other thing we have to speak about is safety over this time, safety for our dogs. You know, a lot of people go, dogs are supposed to be outside, but the reality is also you get poisoning, you get people more breakings. Like, how do I protect my dog?
We always say, let your dog sleep inside. Even if you've got your dog as a security dog, it's safer inside. Even if you can put them in a room in your house somewhere, because exactly that, they just throw poison over. The dogs are and it's rampant over this time of year. You know, break-ins are more. They steal dogs if it's a large dog as well. You'd rather keep your dogs safe, and they will be better protectors as well. And if a dog is part of the family, they build that relationship where they will always want to protect their family too. A lot of weird things around the house now at Christmas time. We learnt this the hard way. We had Christmas presents under the Christmas tree, and we bought those little chocolate things as decorations. And the one year my dog just decided, that smells good. And we woke up, the little guy had all the selection boxes, all the little chocolate decorations. Fortunately, he was okay, because it was obviously not very good chocolate, because chocolate is highly poisonous for dogs. So you've got to really watch that. And things like the tinsel, the
Christmas balls.
They find that interesting. One, they can pull the whole thing. The things we don't think of, like the lights on the tree, and they're going, now all of a sudden there's a cable there that's going to a plug. The dog's like, oh, that looks like a good chew toy. You know, so that's electricity. So we've always got to be mindful of Christmas decorations and food. And it happens naturally at Christmas time. We give them a lot more scraps than we used to, because we've got a lot more scraps going on with the Christmas meals.
Don't overdo it.
Don't overdo it.
Sure.
Tracy, thank you so much for being here this morning, and thank you so much for the advice. I know we can all spend a little more quality time with our dogs during the holiday, and do it meer oordeelkundig vir 'n verandering. Being educated helps even the older people. Thank you so much, Tracy McQuarrie. Dis van Tracy natuurlik van DogtownSA. Gee 'n bietjie vir jou honde liefde oor hierdie vakansie. Moenie net los nie. Kom.